December 1st, 1955, Montgomery, Alabama. A bus pulls to a stop on a chilly evening. A woman sits quietly, her purse in her lap, her gaze steady. Nothing violent, nothing dramatic. And yet, within minutes, the police arrive. Handcuffs click. A new criminal is escorted away. Her name? Rosa Parks. Her alleged crime? Refusing to give up her seat. On paper, it was one of the smallest offenses imaginable. But that night, in a world twisted by segregation, her stillness was treated as defiance. And it would expose one of the greatest injustices of the century. Click the like button and subscribe while we drive into another story. Montgomery's bus system was divided by law. White riders sat in the front. Black riders sat in the back. But the back wasn't fixed. It shifted like quicksand. If the white section filled up, black passengers were ordered to move further back, whether they had already paid or not. That evening, Rosa took her seat in the first row of the colored section. Perfectly legal, at least for the moment. Then a white man boarded. The driver looked back. For black riders were told to give up their seats so the man could sit. 3 complied. 1 did not. Rosa Parks stayed seated. The driver, James Blake, recognized her immediately. Years earlier, he had thrown her off his bus for refusing to re-enter through the back door. Now, he had the chance to enforce his authority again. Blake called the police. When the officers asked why she wouldn't move, Rosa answered simply, "I don't think I should have to stand up." Fingerprints were taken. A mugshot snapped. A $10 fine issued for breaking Montgomery's city code. Rosa Parks, a soft-spoken seamstress, was processed as if she were a dangerous offender. But here's the irony. The police files called her guilty, while the world would later call her brave. And there was something else unusual about this so-called crime. Parks hadn't been the first to resist. Others had refused before her, including a teenager named Claudette Colvin, just months earlier. But Colvin's case had been buried in the courts, quietly dismissed. Why Rosa? Why this night? That mystery would unfold in the days to come. The more the community examined the law that put Parks behind bars, the stranger it became. The first inconsistency. The bus ordinance didn't explicitly require Parks to move. It gave drivers police powers to enforce segregation, but nowhere did it spell out the exact punishment. The system was built on intimidation more than law. The second inconsistency. Black riders paid the same fare as whites, but their rights on the bus were conditional, always shrinking. It wasn't about seating. It was about control. The third inconsistency. Parks wasn't tired in the way most people imagine. She often explained later, "I wasn't physically tired. I was tired of giving in." This wasn't fatigue. It was strategy. It was defiance disguised as stillness. Within hours of her arrest, community leaders saw something different. Parks was well-known, respected, and steady. She wasn't a teenager officials could easily dismiss. She was an adult woman, a churchgoer, a seamstress, the perfect plaintiff, they whispered. The twist of fate? By targeting Rosa Parks, Montgomery authorities had handed civil rights leaders the very case they needed. Within days, leaflets spread across the city. Black residents were told, "Don't ride the buses." On December 5th, the boycott began. What started as a one-day protest stretched into weeks, then months. Black workers walked miles to jobs. Carpool systems sprang up. Ministers organized nightly rallies. The buses ran nearly empty. Tension gripped Montgomery. Drivers were laid off. Businesses suffered. And the city doubled down, arresting carpool drivers, fining organizers, and threatening anyone who resisted. But the boycott did not break. For 381 days, an entire community carried the weight of justice on blistered feet. Rosa Parks' case alone wouldn't topple segregation, but paired with a lawsuit Browder versus Gale, filed by other women who had resisted, the case climbed through the courts. In November 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled bus segregation unconstitutional. The ruling landed like thunder. On December 20th, 1956, the boycott ended. Rosa Parks boarded a bus again, not to surrender, but to claim her seat as equal. Montgomery had tried to punish a woman for sitting down. Instead, it put its own injustice on trial. The irony is almost too sharp to believe. The so-called criminal was innocent, while the laws themselves stood guilty. Police took her mugshot. History turned it into an icon. The court fined her $10. The boycott cost Montgomery $1 million in lost fares. A driver tried to silence her. Instead, she gave voice to millions. In the end, Rosa Parks never saw herself as extraordinary. She once said, "I would like to be remembered as a person who wanted to be free." But history remembers her as more than that. Her quiet act of defiance cracked open the walls of segregation. Her so-called crime became a catalyst for justice. And that night in Montgomery, what seemed like an ordinary arrest was anything but ordinary. It was the moment America's conscience was called to the stand. Rosa Parks was arrested for sitting down. But in reality, she stood up for all of us. The system branded her guilty. History proved her innocent. And in the end, the real crime wasn't Rosa's defiance. It was segregation itself. Because sometimes justice doesn't come from the courtroom. Sometimes it comes from courage. Thank you for watching. Click the like button, share, and subscribe for more chilling true crime story.